Hello everyone, welcome to day 70 of 100 Days of Making Comics, and it's a big one. Fosphor 1, the rough version of my comic book has gone online yesterday, and it has already broken all sales records. Yes, it has actually. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you who helped make that possible. Okay, so maybe my issue 0 wasn't wasn't the best seller, but the fact is that I've just made my first $50 on a comic book that isn't even finished. I still have 30 days where I'm gonna clean up the art and make it look as pretty as possible to get to the actual issue 1. And so I just wanted to say thank you for all of you who left a nice little tip to to make me feel like, wow, this could just work. I might just be able to pay my rent one day doing this. And that's just on my own, so who knows where this is all gonna go. But for right now, less glamorous, I'm gonna have to get the cat to help me out because it is time to clean the house. Yes, it is that time of the week where I have to clean everything, because tomorrow my new flatmate is going to come by and have a look and drop some stuff off. So everything needs to be in good shape. And then hopefully later on I'll get my half an hour to an hour in. So I'll get back to you right then. But for now, you guys, it is already 11 o'clock at night. The house is clean though. I just caught up with my my flatmate to make sure he's here tomorrow when the new flatmate is gonna pop over and say hello. Also noticed that I had a little note from the mailman saying I can pick up my V100s poster tomorrow for the Kickstarter that we did a little while ago. So the Kickstarter was for the Life in Space anthology comic book. It should be on its way to everyone relatively soon. Like I think like in the next week or so. That's the last I heard on it. Don't quote me on that one. So what have I been doing today? Today I've actually been reading my comic book over and over again. I've noticed 3 pieces of dialogue which are the same thing over and over again. But I guess because there's time in between writing it, and I tend to keep 2 pages next to each other. So in case you don't know what this is all about and you're new to this channel, this is the first time you're watching it, I'm making a comic book. It's called Fosphor. It's a science fiction adventure comic book. And I'm working on my first issue. I have an issue 0 that I did about 2 years ago for my initial 100 Days of Making Comics run. So I've just put out the Rough Inks version, which is the first 26 pages with pretty rough art in some parts, pretty nice art in others, I think. I like some of the sketchy art a lot, actually. But it's not finished. This is all part of a process, an iterative process that I picked up from Mr. Gazbot of the Horror A4 and some of the other fine people of the V100s who have also done the challenge. And so I am kind of using this iterative process to keep my psychology at bay of not freaking out and like trying to do everything perfect. So in this version of the comic book, which is now readable for all on Gumroad, I'll put the link down below again, you can now read it from start to finish, and that includes me. I've been keeping like 2 pages next to each other most of the time, like when I continue the writing, like the dialogue, to make sure like, you know, things segue nicely. But still I made that mistake where certain things are repeated in a way that is a little too, that is exactly what just happened, I feel. And I feel like it might be a missed opportunity to then add some new information, which I could definitely do. So that's what I've been working on today. I've already got 1 bit of feedback from the lady I work with who is writing her own novel and who I gave a lot of feedback to. She's been asking a lot of questions to just kind of make sure like I've got the motivations and like where this is all going correct, which has been very helpful actually, because it made me realize one thing that I'm definitely putting in there might be a little too cliche for its own good. And so I feel like cliches can be very helpful nowadays, rather than always trying to reinvent the wheel. But I might be able to put a little spin on it, nevertheless, to make things a little bit more interesting in the future. But that is not for this issue. For this issue, I need to keep the focus on just showing, putting the focus on certain characters a little bit more than everyone, but introducing large groups of people. I do feel like I might have to insert a page or two here and there and get a little bit more personal for some of the characters. I feel like a lot of which was on purpose, a lot of this is really showing their day at work and showing their stations in life, their jobs, not so much who they are on a personal level and their character traits. And I feel like I should at least get in a little bit more emphasis on character traits already. But I also feel like maybe for one or two characters, I should get a little bit more personal, rather than I screwed up my job, so now I'm in for it, or I'm very ambitious. If you haven't read the comic book yet, feel free to go down below and have a read. It's free. And for those of you that have, I'll put my email down there as well if you want to write a little feedback. I'd deeply appreciate that. And for right now, I'm going to thank you for your time and for your generosity, if I haven't already. And I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow on day 71, when there will definitely be more art. Talk to you soon.